Hello everyone and welcome back to the FinTech track, room 218. لو أي حد أول مرة يجوين us, I'm Yahya Ubashi, Director of Technology Strategy at NI Consulting, and I'm your host for this room. دلوقتي احنا turn our attention to how startups و legacy institutions use strategic data and are shaping the future of finance. طيب النهارده هنبegin the second section of room بتاعت الفinTech with a very interesting panel discussion exploring how fintech startups and traditional financial institutions are learning to innovate, compete, and collaborate together. فافتر introducing الباناليستس اللي قدامنا اللي انتم شايفينهم على البرومو، انا نفسي هقعد جنبكم هقعد اكتب نوتس عن الكلام اللي هم هيقولوه. Our moderator Mohamed Fetiha, CDO at AXA Egypt, will guide a conversation between Basma Rady from Beltone Holding, Rana Kamal El Sharqawy from EFG Holding, and Asmaa Magdy from Klivvr. They'll explore where competition ends and collaboration begins. Please welcome our distinguished guests. Thank you. Mr. Mohamed, I'll leave the floor to you علشان introduce بقى الناس و hold the discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, today we have three beautiful ladies. They are among the top women in tech in Egypt. So let's start with Basma. Nice to meet you, Basma. Basma, please welcome Basma, the Chief Data Science Officer of Beltone Holding. She has been assigned to different advanced analytics and consulting projects across the region. Also, she teaches data science at the American University in Cairo, the AOC. So nice to meet you today, Basma.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
By the way, Basma enjoys learning languages. So she talk and learn Spanish, French, and she's planning to learn Deutsch as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
On my bucket list.
AI translator, but NI translator. Natural intelligence translator. We have also Rana Kamal. Please welcome Rana. Rana, the head of data science and analytics at EFG Holding. Rana is recognized among the top 100 global women power leader who manage high performance BI and data analytics teams. Welcome to the panel, Rana. Rana not only passionate about data, by the way. Rana also she used to play volleyball, so she's a sports fan. She also loves music. She's a pianist and she's a visual artist, right? Yeah. I think we have a super multi-talent humans here today, so this is very nice. Also, we have Asmaa Magdy today. Please welcome Asmaa, the head of data at Klivvr. Asmaa has more than 17 years of experience in building and scaling data teams and analytics functions across multiple fintech companies in the region. Asmaa decided to study computer science, by the way, because she used to watch a lot of science fiction and spy movies while she was a kid. So that's why she decided to learn computer science. Welcome, Asmaa. So actually, I'm very happy today to have the three of you on the panel discussion. And apology, I'm a little bit worried about the mic, so don't worry about that. I want to start with the question a little bit to know more about you. So if each one of you can tell me what is the most favorable project that you have worked to develop, if you have a specific project that is very important for you, that you have learned a lot from it, that you love it, I would really love to hear about this project. So let's start with Basma, please.
Sure. Thanks, Mohammed. It's a pleasure to be with you here all. It's quite challenging to pick one when you're leading initiatives and data science projects across the board. But allow me to elaborate on a few, but very briefly. In the world of data, from a real perspective, you don't end up just working on the cool machine learning stuff. That's actually very much part of what you do, but it's not all what you do. Some of the projects I'm very excited about are in the some of them of course are in the lending space. It's a financial services institution, and some of the very cool work we do is how we look at our clients' behaviors and our customer behavior and actually target them with products that meet their needs. That's not actually shoving products down their throats. It's actually meeting their needs. It's meeting what they want, and we do this through studying their behavior, studying what they like, studying their repayment behavior, studying maybe perhaps what they need, and then we start recommending products. Some of the very interesting things we're doing right now is with generative AI. Data scientists, when they work with generative AI, they connect to the model, and then they load it and they start building very cool stuff with it. And some of the things we're doing and we're very excited about is in that space is getting insights and extracting meaning from news using large language models. And the last project I want to comment on is actually a forecasting project. So I know I said it's not just about machine learning, but it's a forecasting project, and the project is about forecasting volatility in a market such as Egypt's market. Not easy, but the project was so good that it was published in the International Conference on Machine Learning and Soft Computing in Japan, and the team went, and I like this project because of the impact that it had. So it's especially focused on the financial markets and especially focused on the financial markets in Egypt. And the model is working, and we're using it for decision making.
So the model was segmenting the customers?
So I mentioned three models, right? So there's one in the lending space. The one in the lending space was about understanding customer behavior, segmenting the customers, and then targeting them with products. And Beltone is an institution that has a lot of lending platforms. So we have a consumer lending platform, a microfinance lending platform. So we're constantly we have a leasing and factoring. We're lending for mortgage, so people who want to buy houses and so on and so forth. So with this wealth of data, we're continuously segmenting our customers' behavior and trying to understand what customers need next from a financial product perspective. Of course, the project, the end goal, which is the recommendation engine, is obviously very cool, but you can imagine the amount of work that was done from a data quality, data engineering, data analytics perspective before we get to the cool parts. So that was the first project. The second project I talked about was in the generative AI space, and that's how we are using large language models to extract sentiment from news and meaning from news and context from news, and we're using it to inform our decision makers and our leaders. And the last project I talked about was in the forecasting space, and it's forecasting volatility for the Egyptian stock market prices.
Okay, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice, Asmaa. And what about you, Rana?
Yeah. Actually, as you know, EFG Holding, actually like the same business line as Beltone, so I will not be actually deviating about what Basma just shared with us. We have leasing, factoring, brokerage, investment banking. EFG is a universal bank. So the use cases, I'd like to second Basma on what she said. It's not always the butterflies that we have. Let's deploy machine learning models, as you can say. But one of the most grateful projects I'm for and proud of them, it was not just on the data science part, actually on centralizing first the database and collecting data sources from all the business lines that we have, and actually building analytics over those different data sources, then starting deploying the, like we can say, the well-known use cases that we can call the segmentation for our customer to start targeting them, and actually seeing the impact of each marketing campaign that we do, and actually building some analytics over the stocks and the feature in our app. We have the application EFG Hermes One, if you can hear about it, the trading app. So deploying a feature in this app requires a lot of insights to be able to know what we will publish next. So if I can say that there is a big project that I'm proud of. There are many, as Basma said, we can pick just one. Each one has its challenges and the things that made us like proud of it. However, centralizing the whole thing to build the ecosystem that you can build over it, the use cases that you're planning, was the best part of it.
Yeah, the journey itself,
yeah.
You know, the journey is the most favorable
yes,
part.
Having the solid database or the solid data ecosystem that you can start building the analytics over it, because this is the most challenging part. actually in the real world of financial institutions, you don't find the clear data set that you expect that we used to take in the college. Actually, the data sometimes is miserable. You never see the clear story or the clear pattern or insight that you're expecting. Never in life. So you just start gathering all that mess, then start how you can clear this and find the problems to start finding the use cases that will help you through the decision in this problem. So that's it.
Very nice. So
Yeah.
reflecting on Basma and Rana discussion, I had a discussion maybe before the session starts with one of the students in a computer science company, computer science university, and he was asking for an advice, to give him an advice on what he do next to be able to join the market, the job market. So my first part was the point that Rana just mentioned, that while you're in the college or when you have a specific course or anything, you always have the data ready. They tell you that this is the data sources, and this is the project that we need to develop, and this is what you need to do. So you just develop it. In real world, this is not the case. They just ask you that we need to solve a business problem. You need to figure out where is the data, how you can grab it, how you can clean it, how you can do all of this. So nothing is clear like the courses, like the universities and all of that stuff. Thank you,
Yes,
Rana.
thank you.
So Asmaa, what do you think?
This is not working. Actually, you can raise your voice.
Really?
It's not working, right?
Yes, it's not working. So
Is it working for you?
I guess it's for the video.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for the recording, then.
I will help you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, actually, Mohammed, I second Rana and Basma. So I have two opposite examples. So one in Klivvr, because I've joined just before the commercial launch. So we had no data whatsoever. So what we were doing, so that we can have analytics ready from day one upon the launch, we started on building the infrastructure, selecting the tech stack, working on data pipelines, but working on testing data, unfortunately. So I remember on the commercial night, I was presenting to the executives the dashboards that they will be using the next day, just before the launch, with all of the KPIs that are ready, but without any data. With testing data, actually. So this is one of the examples. We had no data, but we had to be ready. So we needed to understand the business, understand how to build the pipelines, get everything done from infrastructure standpoint, from the data warehouse standpoint, from analytics standpoint, and then you need to go and explain to business users how they will be using it the next day. So this was an extreme example on one edge of the spectrum. Another extreme example, but on the opposite side, in a previous employer, I was working for a mobile payment platform. It's called TPay Mobile. So when I joined, right after after 3 or 4 months from me joining, they decided they're going for an exit. So if you don't know, when a startup is big enough to do an exit, you start approaching investors, you start doing demos, you start showing them the best you can, and start showing them your plans and your roadmaps. So we had no infrastructure from data warehouse side. We had no analytics platform. We had no data team. I remember it was just me and another engineer who was switching from back-end to data. And we had to sell the company. So we had like multiple databases we were running everywhere. I had to explain even the business terms to due diligence parties and buyers who are interested. So we had to like show them or make the analytics visible like ASAP without having any infrastructure whatsoever. So what we did that, we selected the analytics platform. We grabbed some summarized versions of the data. We collected everything together and we started showing them analytics in a self-service BI manner. And this was one of the main factors which helped elevate the valuation of the company. So you don't have always the right capacity or the right moment to build up things in the perfect manner, but sometimes you just favor the business outcome or what's the opportunity you're trying to grab at that moment. So it was one of the challenging things, actually.
So this is very nice. I want to reflect on the topic itself. It seems that we are talking, all of us are talking about the challenges and the things that are related to data challenges when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to sources, up to have a final product. So from your perspective, what do you think the difference between implementing a new technology or developing a new idea in a startup company versus a big financial institute or a fintech, a big fintech company, or any of those big gurus? So what are the challenges and what are the pros and cons in developing such thing in each and everyone?
Well, I really love this question. The way we do things at Beltone is that it's a very well-established organization, but we're almost a startup. As a data team, we're a startup, but also all the companies are acting in a moment of growth, so it's almost like a startup. So I think it's the best of both worlds in that sense. But I understand your question. You're asking me to talk about how the differences and the main points of contention, perhaps.
Exactly.
I think the first, on one side of the spectrum, if you are a startup, to Asmaa's point, you wouldn't have a lot of data. At the beginning, of course, but if you're a digitally native or a tech-enabled startup or a tech startup, you would probably start collecting data faster than anyone else in the traditional sense. But a traditional organization would have data. So for example, the brokerage arm in Beltone has been there for many, many, many years. And so we had a lot of data. And so the idea there is to make sure that you're capturing all the value from this existing data asset. So the data asset is there. Your job is to get the data from this data asset and make sure that the decision makers are actually using it for decisioning. Some of the challenges that can happen on that front is you're trying to change the culture, change perhaps the way things are being done. You're trying to impart certain knowledge on leaders, on the people on the ground doing the work. So these are some of the challenges. But the good part is the data is there. So it's only a matter of rolling up your sleeves and getting that data ready for the decision makers to use to the full potential. On the startup front, you have, and this is something we have as well in Beltone, so I'm glad that we have both sides. So our consumer finance arm, 7, is considered a startup, right? It started giving out consumer finance loans. Those are loans for us as consumers, to buy phones, to buy, I don't know, a car, you name it. But there has to be a consumer at the end of the day, and this was more or less a startup. So the challenges were, where's the data? How can I, for example, assess the creditworthiness of a customer based on machine learning models or based on statistics, perhaps, just pure statistics, when you don't have the data? So most of the time, the answer actually lies in a lot of what Asmaa just shared with us. When I started working with 7, my main goal was, let's get the data pipelines ready. So when this company or this startup goes out at full speed, we are ready with the analytics, we're ready with the decisioning platforms that they will need, we're ready with the credit scoring models that they will rely on. We're ready with the architecture, we're ready with the build-up, we're ready with the foundation. So on that front, the advantages, in my opinion, is talent force that's actually quite young, quite ready and actually are expecting something on the data front. They're expecting data, they're expecting analytics to empower their decision making on a day-to-day basis. On the not so positive side, you're still building your data asset in a way, and so having that mindset that I'm going to build the infrastructure until the data comes, something that I think is very useful in that sense.
That's very nice. So I think Basma's mainly mentioning this part that the challenges in the big fintech or the financial institutions versus the startup is mainly the data literacy. So in startups are more familiar with the data, how they can do it and how they can manage the data, how they can get out with the analytics, with the recommendations, while in the big financial institutions, you still need more to teach the people how you can use the powerful or the power of data to deliver actions and all that stuff.
Allow me to clarify, right? So not all startups are digitally native. So it's only a case where the startup itself is a digitally native tech or tech-enabled startup where you will find that type of data literacy. So examples of startups, I'm going to mention examples from the commerce sector, very far away, so breakfast, travel. I'd expect these types of startups to have talent that's already thinking about data all the time. But if you have a startup that's in the, perhaps in the furniture business, there is no app, there is nothing. If you go to them, they won't be as educated, and it actually is a much harder journey. With leadership as well, in the established financial institutions, it depends on the level of literacy that you have there. So within Beltone, actually, leaders are the ones who had the vision to set up the data platform. So they were already very informed and very aware. But what I was mentioning here is more along the lines of, traditionally it's hard for large financial institutions when you've had CEOs and technical people already relying on their know-how and their experience to tell them it's not about your experience only. It's about your experience plus the data tools and the analytics that I'm going to provide you, and you're going to be the decision maker as well. So that's a standard type of challenge. But I must be honest, it's not a challenge that I'm facing per se. In fact, as I said, our leaders in Beltone are visionaries when it comes to using data and analytics in driving decision making. I hope that's clear.
That's very clear. So I want to ask you, Rana, for time to deliver for such projects. You know, the financial institutions, the big financial institutions, always have a specific process, have specific governance for the projects, policies and rules and all that stuff. While in the startups, most of the time, they deliver and they develop at just the blink of an eye. So how do you see this?
I see this that it's normal, because we know that the big financial institutions actually have regulations, and this is normal. And you can actually look at the scale. Having a startup, you don't have that amount of data and that amount of data privacy policies, and this is normal by heart, because financial institutions actually, as I can talk about EFG Holding, we have our data is in many countries, a lot of processes and a lot of workflows. So by default, having something new to be implemented must run through in-depth investigation and study before deployment, as well as this new technology that you're going to implement, the integration points that you have currently up and running. Is it going to be suitable or not? Another point is the cost. Always implementing a new technology or a new project, we must actually have a clear return on investment to be able actually to adopt that. We must see the value out of that. So actually doing the whole thing and going through all those aspects takes time by default. On the other hand, on the startup, it's usually, I believe, they want to implement something, or actually they saw a problem and they want to implement the solution as fast as possible. And it's not usually they have that much regulations at the beginning. So I believe this is the main thing that differ in time. However, sometimes we got to implement things fast if it doesn't fall under some regulations and doesn't meet those challenges in terms of integrating with the existing systems, and the value is clear, the problem is stated and short, and we can see everything on the table, we can implement it fast. However, in most of the cases, maybe the things that I said are what makes a difference in the time of implementation or time to work.
That's very nice. I have another question, if you allow me. You know, startups always use the most recent technology. So they start without any problems.
And cheap, by the way.
Yes, exactly. And open sources and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
they start with a technology that's already outdated, already most recent, and there's a lot of tools, a lot of models that can integrate with those technologies. While the financial institution usually have legacy systems that already had a footprint everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So what would you imagine what we need to do in the financial institutions, for example, to solve this problem, how to handle this?
Allow me to clarify that it's mainly depends on the management. As you know, the concept, if you have legacy system, okay, then you need to update it for some reasons, or it's no longer fulfilling the business needs. So the leadership team or the leadership committee starts to plan that this needs to be changed. If the management supports that and visionary, as just Basma said, everything will fall smoothly. On the other side, there are people that think in a manner, and by the way, in startups and in financial institutions, it's all about the mindset. It's operating, let's leave it as is. So it's all about the mindset in financial institutions or in startups, it's the same. However, I understand your preferences that there are some like financial institutions that are of legacy systems and not willing to change it. However, EFG Holding is not part of that, so I can't relate. we have things that are old, but we update them usually. When things not performing as expected, we start changing them and updating them so that they fulfill the requirement, because the world is moving so fast when it comes to tech side, not just AI. So if you're not updating your ecosystem and your infrastructure, and everything will be in a big trouble, especially on our part, because we're consumer facing on most of our products. So we need to be updating our systems regularly.
That's a clear answer right now.
Yeah, thank you.
So going to Asmaa, there is always hype in data technology and tools. Recently, in the few days, we start to hear about MCP, the new approach of AI and agents to agents and all that stuff. And now everybody on YouTube is talking about this. So from my experience, I always see the companies is running around the hypes without thinking actually about the value. Why do we need this technology, and what are the values that this technology will add to the companies? So how do you think we can measure this? How we can deal with such a situation?
I think there are two kinds of companies. Either they're running after every hype, or they're not running at all, they're not interested.
That's a fair answer.
I think you need first to think about what problems are we trying to fix? Are we trying to address a customer problem, a business problem? Are we trying to scale the company? Trying to sell the company? Trying to enhance acquisition? What are we trying to do actually? So you start with the business outcome that you're running after, because this is where the real money resides for every company, because all of the companies are there for the profit. So you need to start with the objective you're trying to get to, and then you can see which kind of solution would fit, because not everything can be fixed with an AI or machine learning model. You can simply embed like simple statistical model or some business rules, or create like a very simple engine which would fix a huge problem in your business, and then achieve the same outcome without investing a lot of time and effort. So I think being aware of your tool set and your business outcomes and linking these together will make you like wise enough to select what's right and what's wrong. There's no harm to explore every possible hype. It's okay. You can dedicate some of your time in this. You can find like innovative ways to solve the same problems. But is it worth of your time or not? You just don't go run around doing POCs for nothing.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
That's very clear. Yeah, I usually buy a specific business model when you develop a new solution. I love to say about the data project, it's a solution. It's more of a solution than a project. Kismo, keep it simple and smart. And sometimes I say keep it simple and stupid. So that's straight. And also we need to use the 80-20, the famous very tool. So actually 20% of your action, even if it's simple, can solve 80% of the problem, and the remaining 20%, you can enhance it using whatever technology moving forward. So thank you very much, Asmaa, on this. And I want to close with a question for you three ladies. How do you see AI gonna change the FinTech industry in the coming future? Either it's startup, either it's one big guru financial institute, banking or non-banking. What's your vision? How do you see the AI change all of that stuff?
Yeah. Actually, I see that AI existed since too long, okay? But actually the hype is now too big, since the 50s. I see that only we started looking at the value of AI differently, especially that the generative AI era and the agentic AI and all that we can see now. So I mean, we need to change our perspective, since it's getting more updated, and a lot of things and a lot of repetitive tasks can be like replaced currently. So financial institutions who's not going to be part of this success story and this transformation actually will stay at the last stages of innovation. So what I can see that we need to change our perspective in terms of how can we use AI to help us in different industries, not just the financial industry. But I can see different value currently. It existed since too long, so we need to change our perspective regarding how to adopt it.
So I think there's good news and there's bad news.
Thank you.
Let's start with the good news.
Please.
The good news is that the advancement in technology is always making everyone optimistic that we can go places and we can change the world. And I think in the coming period, you will see the development of the agentic world and the frameworks and the applications, as Rana was saying, the applications in different industries really shaping like new era of applications. I see it like maybe it's like the invention of ACs, for instance. It changed the world for good. But however, the bad news is there are still concerns about privacy. There are still concerns about ethical use there, because we don't really see the boundaries of how to use it correctly. And I think that not everyone still understands the potential of the technology. We're still trying. And what has been done so far is to make the machine like do specific tasks. It's not there doing like the general intelligence kind of topics like human do. So I think until we get there, I think we're still limited on the potential. When we get to the general intelligence, then we can expect some more scary things to happen, but the good things as well. Hopefully.
Thank you, Asmaa. Do you have a bad news, Basma, or it's just a good news this time?
No, I love how Asmaa keeps giving us dichotomies to think about. And I truly appreciate as well Rana's points on how this is not something new.
This is not bad news. Don't worry about that.
Look, my opinion is going to be a blend of what those experts have already said. What I want to add to what they already said is a couple of things. If you're a data scientist or in the data field, or you're a data or an AI professional, what you want to think about on the future side is that it's not going to happen on its own. I mean, AI is not going to have an impact on its own. It's not a system that's, if you're a data and AI professional, you're going to spend time building that system. And that's gonna mean working a lot with data and making sure that the data is correct and that you've dealt with the mess of the data that Rana talked about earlier today. And you're gonna build the infrastructure that Asmaa talked about earlier today. So you're gonna be doing the work. And then you're gonna have an AI system, and that AI system is going to be making decisions, set of decisions, all decisions. That's something to be figured out later. There are, of course, companies today that are living in our future, right? So there are companies today that have vast amounts of data, that have already built their data infrastructure, and that are already embedding AI in everything that they make, and their financial institutions. But if you're building one here for a company or a startup, here you're going to be doing the hard work. But there is, and the way I see it changing is, again, changing the way we make decisions as a startup or as an established institution. If you're a leader and you're thinking, or a business professional, and you're thinking about the statement that Mohamed just mentioned, how to make sense of it, you also want to understand that AI is not something that you're going to stumble upon out of good luck. It's going to be something that you're going to invest time in, or you're going to be If you're a business analyst, you're going to be working very closely with the data professionals, and you're going to be building something that's worth calling an AI-based system. So whether you're a data professional or you're a business leader or a business analyst, in all cases, AI is not something that we're going to be stumbling upon. It's something that we're going to build, and it's something that we're actively building every day. And it is changing the way customers are interfacing with financial institutions today.
Thank you, Basma. And actually, I want to thank Basma, Rana, and Asmaa for today's discussion, this useful discussion. And we will be out there today. If you have any questions, let's do it after the session. And finally, I just want to say that AI is not a magician that have a magic stick that just will solve all the business problems without knowing it. So you always should start with a business problem and then think how AI can help you to solve it. So thank you very much. Thank you, Basma. Thank you, Rana. Thank you, Asmaa. It was a pleasure meeting all of you today. Thank you very much. Thank you.